The pay gap is shortening between Australia's male and female players, with Cricket Australia announcing an investment of over $133 million into the women's game over the next 5 years as part of their new agreement reached between CA and the Players Association. Tubby, how significant is this for our female players?
Oh, it's further good news, no doubt, for not just for women's cricket but for women's sport in this country. But on the cricket front, I've said now a number of times on this show that our women's cricket team is getting better and better, which is a great thing for cricket in this country. But the concerning thing is that the gap between themselves and the next teams is widening, which is something I don't think women's cricket does need. So what this will hopefully do is will lead to England, who are investing more and more money into women's cricket, but also India. We're now seeing an IPL for the women over there. It's just started this year. We'll see more of that, because what women's cricket needs is good competition. We need our Australian women, obviously we like them winning, but we want to see them pushed, which will get the standard better, which will bring more players on. If you look at our women's cricket at the moment, we've spent years on this show talking about the Lannings, the Perrys and the Healeys. Yeah. But now we've got the Litchfields, we've got the Talia McGraths, we've got the Darcy Browns. So we've got new women coming on all the time, and that's what investment does. And that's why it's great news for Cricket Australia and cricket in this country for women. But we need to see that happen right across the cricket playing world.
Do you think it will put pressure on those other countries to invest more in their game too? Because you're right, that's the only way our athletes are going to get any better within themselves as well, is for the competition to continue to strengthen.
It will, but once again the worry is, where's the money going to come from? See, in India they've got the IPLs, and England have got their money coming into TV rights.
Yeah,
but those two have. The rest of the world is struggling in terms of money, not just for women's cricket, but for cricket in general. So you're seeing the men's game is the big three, if that's the right word, Australia, England and India, are moving away from the rest. And that's what you don't want for the women's game, which is really now just developing. So you don't really want just three good sides, you want 5, 6, 7, 10, and you want more and more people playing all the time.
And in terms of women's sport, mate, do you think this is it's a wonderful pedestal? You know, this is great that the cricket's actually, this is happening, but across the AFL, across the rugby league, this has to be caught up pretty quickly too, because there's so much more demand to watch women's sports. There's so many more women in roles like yourselves, and it's wonderful to see. It's a wonderful perspective. It's a great, broad-minded look at our sport. So I think, yes, there's more sponsors that are keen to get on board. There's more viewers that want to watch it. So why aren't other sports keeping up?
Well, I think there's been particular sports that have been the benchmark. Tennis, golf, surfing, they were certainly sports that did it brilliantly, and they were leading the way. Cricket is another one that's setting that benchmark, their own benchmark. We can see the Matildas playing now, and we just saw a little bit of the NRLW coming up. I think there are sports that have done it really well and have sort of shown how it works. But the biggest thing for me within women's sport and investing in women's sport is concentrating on the skill aspect of the game. We're speaking about women playing cricket and how good they are at bowling, how good they are at batting, same too with soccer, and in their individual sports, it's when the skill level goes up that people not only turn their TVs on, but leave them on and figure out when they're playing, why they're playing, because they're invested in the game. That's how money comes in. So I think that there are certain sports that are setting a great benchmark, cricket being one of those, and for the rest to catch up and to get everyone involved is to increase that skill level. Some of the contact sports for me aren't necessarily there just yet. I think they haven't necessarily figured out how to make the skill level as good as it can be. Being involved in league and union myself, I don't understand why they're using the same size footy that is just as big. Women's hands are smaller, it's just as heavy, can't be passed, kicked as far. There's plenty of different changes. I just think that they need to be prepared to make some changes. But the sports that are elite and that are setting that benchmark are certainly those sports that have invested in the skill level. Therefore, the product is entertaining. And no matter who you are, male, female, young or old, you want to turn your TV on and watch that sport.
And this investment gives young girls a reason to dream big. They could potentially play cricket one day and be a viable career.